Rev your engines with the latest news, insights, and behind-the-scenes action from the world of stock car racing. Whether you're a die-hard fan or a casual observer, we're bringing you the checkered flag and coverage. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and get ready to make the next left turn with us, where every lap is an adventure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Variety Sports Network. This is the Next Left Turn. If you're looking for Talking the Gridiron, hop back to the YouTube page. They're talking football over there. They're breaking everything down, Darren and the boys. So Jimmy and Doug are with him. So if you're looking for football, go over there. If you want racing, stay here. Aaron and I have got you covered. We're going to cover bowling at the Glen today. Aaron, we haven't talked yet. You've sent me one text message about the race, and that's it. So I know we're not super big on the road races. I mean, they're cool, but whatever. What was your take on this version of Watkins Glen?
Besides the fact that the playoff drivers, I don't know what happened to them. They were very non-existent in this race to me. I mean, I could be wrong. Put in the comments, but I think the playoff drivers are non-existent in this course. And again, as my caption says, I could not believe this is a cup record with 12 overtimes in a season in NASCAR. So that was crazy too for Watkins Glen. But
yeah, I mean, we have been getting so every time we get into OT at the end of a race, it seems like the restarts are volatile, and that's being generous in the description. But definitely at these road courses, and it's when they go into those first set of turns. And I understand why. It's not like I don't get it. I mean, yeah, they're all bunched up. They're side by side. They're breaking for position. I mean, they got to make a move. I get it. But good Lord, these guys go in, no holds bars into these turns. And they're hell-bent on getting through the turn. And I get it. I love it. I'm not complaining. I dig the OT. I hated it at first. I am at the point now where it has grown on me, and I think it's awesome.
So you're against Martin Truex from what he said. That's not racing. It's pretty much he's in layman's terms to every man for himself. People are just pushing more than trying to use the skill to win. Well, I don't think he would be saying that if he had some wins on his belt this year.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think Martin's a stand-up guy. I think he's one of the best racers on the circuit. He's frustrated. It's his last full-time season, and it did not go the way. And let's be honest, he was in position to make these playoffs easy and have a good year, and should have had a couple wins. And he just had some immensely horrible luck throughout the season. Like got caught up in other people's messes. Tires going down at just bad times. He had a rough season, and I was rooting for him because he was retired, and I wanted to see him at least get another win. I still hope he can do it, even if he gets bounced out of the playoffs. I hope he wins one of these last races. I thought he had a good shot today. I thought him, Chastain, and then SVG. Those were the three that I was like, just based off qualifying and everything and the history. I mean, Truex has 5 road wins. SVG is SVG. We know who and what he is. And I've been waiting for Watermelon Man all year. And I've been calling for it every week that I thought he was going to get. Well, he was going to sneak one in. Today looked like the day because he started up front, and that's important in road course racing. We know that.
I mean, that's
your way, but start up front does help.
Yeah, that's Hamlin fans all year this year too. They're really pulling for him, and I don't know what's going on in his head, but yeah, it's kind of funny though. When I saw SVG was in here, I was like, oh, just tack on a win. Tacking on there because that's the reason why he signed into the Cup full time next year. We all know why, because that's an easy 5 wins for him next year.
And he's running with Trackhouse next year. Did I hear that right?
I believe so. Yeah.
So Trackhouse got one of the extra charters, or is Suarez getting let go? I've been out of.
Probably Suarez getting let go. I would believe.
I've been out of the news for 3 or 4 days, so I don't know if I missed this before. Or if it happened while I was indisposed. No, everything's fine. I was just doing some family stuff. So yeah, I don't know what happened. So if you can enlighten me, or if someone in the comments knows, I don't know. But I did hear that he was going to be with Trackhouse next year. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, that means something's happened. I know there was some complaints about the charters by 2311 about how they were handed out with like a 120-page document, and they had like 7 hours to read it. It almost sounded like something the government does to each other between the House and the
Pretty
Senate.
much.
And I'm not getting political. That's a stab at both sides. But we know they do that crap to each other, and this is what it sounded like to me. Did you get anything on that?
That's what I keep hearing. I know a lot of people are a little confused on the situation with the charter. They just kind of know that Bubba Wallace is trying to figure out if he has a job. Like they're not sure what's going on with 2311. They're kind of confused by Denny Hamlin that it wasn't done earlier or what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to get the best deal. Like I'm not sure what's going on. It's actually very confusing for me, and I'm usually pretty much on top of this, but
that's what I was hoping
no
you
idea.
could fill me in. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we'll keep our eyes on that for the next week, and then next week after we break down Bristol, or before we start breaking down Bristol, I'm sure we can get you an update if there's any significant news. But let's get into bowling at the Glen. You guys know what we do. We show you the opening lap. There's no need to patty cake it. It's not the full lap because it's Watkins Glen, but it's the first 24 seconds or so.
It's an interesting first lap.
On a road course in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Let's go here at the Glen. Good start from Chastain, but Shane Van Gisbergen right behind him. Truex coming on the outside with Bowman as well. Great start, Chastain. Ross Chastain away with the lead, but he can't get too far away. Here's Truex. Truex in the 19 is going to look to his inside in two. Can't get the job done.
Didn't get to the interesting part, did we there, buddy? No, it looked like it was going to be a clean start. And as you guys can tell by what we've mentioned here, it wasn't as clean as we had all hoped. There gets up a traffic jam into the bus stop. Kyle Busch gets spun around. Ryan Blaney ends up out of the race. There's like 7 cars collected. I think 3 of them are playoff cars. It's absolutely horrendous. It's on lap 1 too. It's let me get to my notes.
And who hit Kyle Busch? His lone
this is the best part about
season.
it. So yeah, these two have been magnets for each other all year. Corey LaJoie ends up bouncing through the bus stop and ends up bumping into Kyle Busch. This was not malicious. It was not. I don't care how mad Busch is that it happened again. I mean, I would be too. But this was not malicious. This was not LaJoie not doing his job. This was just part of road track racing and hitting those bumps. It was just unfortunate. It was LaJoie getting into Busch, spinning Busch around. LaJoie ends up involved, obviously. Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney gets involved, but his is a little bit different. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets a little bit damaged, and Denny Hamlin gets a good hit. So you got 3 guys right off the bat from the playoffs already involved, and we haven't even made one lap around the track yet. This is the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to be interested in this race. Like I was like, oh, this is going to be good because we're getting aggression, and we're not even 7 turns in. What did you? Was this something you expected? This is how I expected the race to end, not start. Is this what you were expecting from green flag drop, or it always seems like right now that the drivers are being very conservative. They're kind of playing things out and seeing how things are working. Today was a different show. It was almost like they were listening to us going, okay, fine. You think we're too conservative in the first stage? We're going to go aggressive. And today they were balls to the walls the entire first stage. Where was your take on this, Aaron?
I mean, I feel honored that they're watching Variety Sports Network, Next Left Turn, and hearing us when we talk about stage 1. But I kind of expected it just because we're already second race in the first, how do we call it, round 16. And a lot of drivers need to make sure that they stay in top position. I mean, Ryan Blaney obviously spun out, did not finish. He dropped, I believe, 9th or 10th in the points. It's one of those, but that's a significant drop for him. And obviously the next race, Bristol, which is coming up, that's the cutoff. So 4 guys are going to be eliminated. So that kind of hurts a lot of drivers, especially it's at the bottom tier, like a Brad Keselowski or a Denny Hamlin, which we saw last week. He really was just coasting, which made absolutely no sense, even though I believe he's okay at Watkins Glen, but he's not a bona fide winner. But yeah, it was just interesting that these guys were just going intense already in the first stage. Well, first lap, what were they on? Turn 6 when that happened? Turn 7? So it was just insane.
Yeah, but I think the bus stop is 5 and 6.
5 and 6? Yeah, I knew it was one of
think.
those.
I think. I'm not super familiar on this course. I mean, I know the course, but I'm not that accurate.
Yeah, they changed 2 things there for the Cup and Xfinity, where it's like they decreased one area and cut off another. But how did you feel though at Ryan Blaney? It didn't look like it was too bad of a hit, but he couldn't finish. And they said no matter what, like if you can't get off the track, you automatically do not finish, especially in playoff time. You think that's still a good rule?
Yeah. Do I like the rule? No, not if something happens on the first lap. So in his case, it was more mechanic. It sounds, from what I understand, and I may be wrong here, and Aaron, you may be right when I say this, or you can confirm or deny when I say this. From what I understand, it was a mechanical error. It was a steering column issue. So he could not. The car wouldn't steer, so he couldn't. There was no way he could drive it back. He wasn't involved in any major contact at all. I'll show you the clip of it later. I mean, there's really no reason how that should have broken. I think if it's a mechanical failure for something like that, if they can replace it in a timely manner, 15 minutes, he's going to be down and out of the race anyways to win. But they're there, let them run. You know.
Yeah, it's better than do not finish. It's going to hurt you in points.
So, I mean, if it's for a mechanical failure, for something like that, I don't know why they couldn't say get it back to the garage and fix it up. But the rules are the rules. It is what it is. Ryan Blaney is now in a position where he doesn't have to win next week, but he has to get stage points.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously winning is locked, but I mean he's got enough points. If he were to get 15 stage points and then finish in the top 10, he would be virtually locked, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he can do it too at Bristol.
Yeah, but because of his good finish last week with a duct taped car, I'm sure he was disappointed and upset, but he's not fighting for his life like Denny Hamlin is at this moment.
Yeah. Like Denny Hamlin needs to finish top 5.
No, Denny Hamlin, I think, needs to win and get in. But anyways, they get that cleaned up. Ryan Blaney is out at this point. Everybody else is in the race. Denny Hamlin does get the car back up to speed. Let me just get this video. I got these videos. Let's get them up and let's roll them. How does that sound? Sound good to you, Aaron?
Fine with me.
All right, let's do this before I get moving on. So I did love the camera work today.
Yeah.
Just sliding. I love the way they sound. Don't you?
Yep.
It makes you really nervous about those EV.
I didn't want to bring that up because I know how you feel about that.
It'll never be this good. It'll never be as good as this. Here we go. Here's another clip. This is Blaney and Blaney. Oh. So you see the hit that Hamlin takes there. He does get the car back to pit road. They get it fixed in the time that they have to get it back on track. He ends up being able to get up to speed, so it's all good for him moving forward. Christopher Bell did have some light damage. Hell, I don't even have the clip of Blaney. But Blaney ends up just literally driving through the turn. He can't turn.
Yep.
In that accident. So I must have deleted my own clip. I'm so sorry, everybody. It was kind of important. It was kind of weird because you see all these other cars kind of lock up or or hit the gas to let him go. It's because he can't turn. So he ends up driving park. The wrecker comes out and gets him due to like what Aaron was talking about. The ruling says if you can't get the car back to pit road, you can't fix it. You're out of the race. That's what happened to Ryan Blaney today. So they get back, they reline up. Chastain clears right off the bat, and he takes clear-cut lead for a while. SVG and Truex Jr. are trading back and forth, position on each other. SVG never really takes over until about lap 14, where he gives Truex, I would say, a clean rub.
Yeah.
I mean, it was road racing to me. It was racing to me. Like, it didn't bother me. And he ends up taking second place. When we get to near the end of stage one, and this is the strategy we've been seeing all year on the road tracks with the stage racing, is that they'll pit with 3 laps to go in the stage, so that when everybody else pits, they didn't get the points this time, but they're going to be starting up front, and that's part of the reason why I thought Chastain was set up so well for this race. Was he always runs good on these tracks for the most part. He tends to be there at the end. If he's up front to start, maybe he has a chance to actually finish the job and get himself a W on the year. But anyways, Truex Jr. ends up getting the lead and wins the stage. So Bowman stayed out as well. So they go 1 and 2. Chase Briscoe's 3rd, Daniel Suarez 4th, Austin Cindric gets 5th, Chase Elliott 6th, Tyler Reddick 7th, Kyle Larson 8th, Eric Jones 9th, and Daniel Hemrick 10th. So 1 through 8 all went to playoff drivers. And I know we said earlier it was like the playoff drivers weren't involved. Well, they were there at the beginning of the race. It was as the race went on that they became less and less existent. So at this point, we get the stages going into stage 2, pit stops. Everybody else who needs to pits at this point. When we get the green flag to stage 2, it's Chastain and McDowell are up front. They run side by side for a little bit. Chastain ends up winning that battle when push comes to shove, and right behind them, Tyler Reddick ends up spinning out, and there's no caution there. I think we did good. NASCAR did a good job today, and I think they usually do. But I noticed today that they gave them as much time as they could to get off the track or out of the way before throwing the yellow flag out. Would you agree with that? Like, it didn't have any there was no detriment to it in the race that's today. Like, they didn't throw it at a time that it ended up being detrimental.
Yeah, there was one caution where it kind of made sense that they threw it right away. But yeah, the Tyler Reddick one, as long as he gave him some time, which ended up working out in the favor. I'm kind of glad they didn't throw the caution out. But I was impressed with a little Juan Pablo Montoya action. Anybody else impressed by him today?
Nope.
No.
I expected him to come out and dominate.
Not run that 50 car.
I didn't even really see the car until the third stage.
Yeah, I didn't see him.
I mean, I knew he was there, but I forgot about it. But here's the start of stage 2, guys.
Pretty calm at the front, 3 wide further back. Reddick forces it 3 wide. The 99 gets a little contact, gets loose, contacts the 45 and spins it around. I think it was the 2,
this is
the
why
orange car, top
turn
center
1
of the
is so much
screen,
fun.
if you can make it out. I mean, how do you blame anybody? Briscoe into the 2, into the 99, who gets the 45. I mean, it's the game of contact telephone. Here you go, pushing and pushing and pushing. Not everyone's going to make it, and that time it was the 45 of Reddick getting spun around.
That was a pretty good clip.
Yeah, and like we said, with that right there, no one hit him. He obviously was sideways, but he was able to get back onto the track easily because he's pretty much right there, turn 1. So I'm kind of glad they didn't throw that caution.
Yeah, let me. I got 3. You know, we like these in-car clips. I got 3 of them all together on this one. So it's a little bit smaller, but Reddick's up top. This is Larson, and this is Cindric. I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's Suarez. My bad. I mean, there's not really much they can do in those situations. It just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, especially
I think it makes this
road
fun.
course.
Like
Yeah.
I think it makes the road racing fun. I enjoy this. This is the part of road racing I like. I don't mind seeing a car get spun out, them not throw the caution, him get the car spun back around and just keep going. Like I can see that every 7 or 8 laps, and I'm not going to have maybe every 12 to 15 laps.
There we go.
Where it's just their hard racing going into the turn, and somebody goes too hard in the turn and they slide, and I have no problem with that. I think it makes it a little more interesting, and it's one of the cool things about Supercross, where you'll see them wreck, and then the guys just kind of scramble to get up back on the bikes and take off and keep going.
Yeah.
As long as everybody can get up, they're not throwing a caution or anything. So, I don't know. I enjoy this part of the road racing. It's one of the parts about when they're in Chicago, they can't do it because it's a street race. Obviously, they got no room to slide off and get turned around.
I was gonna say they could try, but it's not gonna end well for them.
Well, yeah, because I mean, you gotta think. Remember, they get buried under those tires in the corners sometimes.
Oh yeah,
that's my thought. Yep. They're not always gonna be able to get around it, but that's neither here nor there. I know you said in the text message you weren't thrilled.
I'm just not a fan of road courses. I'll try to watch them, but I was just like getting more distracted with other things. So I had to be an unfan, and I had to wait for the highlights and watch it on YouTube.
And I'm not mad at you. I get that.
But yeah, I'm just not a fan of road courses. It's just not my thing.
So can I ask you a question real quick? I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have a choice. You don't have to answer it, but I'm going to ask it to you. If they did the 24-hour track for Daytona, would you be able to watch that?
Probably. I would try it, yeah.
Because it's a track is a good track, or because it's new for NASCAR?
I would think because it's new. I know they try to throw that on TV, but I think it would be interesting to see how it would roll and what teams that would be assembled, and see who would be with who. So I think it'd be interesting. But how concerned were you though with?
I can tell you right now, if they ran that track, I'd pick Larson to win.
Yeah, everyone's picked that because someone else asked that question. I forgot what show I was watching. They said the thing with Lamaze. They said that Larson would definitely be a heavy favorite. But are you concerned though with Hendricks playing the strategy game because they've won the last 5 Watkins Glens?
No. I've always considered Hendricks cars a threat at the end of the race. If they're not there, they're going to find a way to be there.
I figured I had to ask because Larson and Elliott were in top 10. So I feel like they were just kind of waiting in that first stage to get ready.
That's what I mean, dude. They're always there at the end of every race. It's no longer a surprise. It's a bigger surprise for me when they're not there. So I just expect them to be there at the end of the race. That's why I'm so happy when we do this and they're not there at the end of the race. It was something different than normal.
This would have been a bad pod if Hendricks was always winning like it was in the beginning of the season because you just had to look at their feet.
This would have been no fun for me at all. You'd have had to find somebody else to do this every couple of weeks. I would need a break. But anyways, we are venturing tonight. We're having fun. It's a Sunday night. We go back to work tomorrow. Sucks. More racing. All right. So we start stage 2. We just showed you all that. And these stages are 20 laps right now. So about halfway through lap 30, SVG has caught all the way up to Chastain, and he is running Chastain, and they're going at it back and forth. It takes SVG. Well, hold on. SVG never gets there because Chastain pits before he gets him, doesn't he?
Yes.
That was the impressive part of that run. Because I kept waiting for SVG to make the move, and he never got the job done. And then he ends up getting the lead when Chastain. Well, he doesn't even get the lead because he dumps down in the pit lane with Chastain at the same time. So he never ends up getting the lead at that point in the race. So we're basically through 2 stages, and he has not dominated the race like we all anticipated he would. He's been there.
I think he would have if that caution didn't come out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think he might have on that one. I think he would have won the stage too.
So, I mean, no, I completely agree with you there. So that was with that again, like we just talked about earlier. 3 laps left. We see who pits. These two guys go to pit. Well, while they're in the pits, Ross Chastain's teammate Daniel Suarez ends up getting spun out and stuck in a sand trap, and then NASCAR has to throw the caution. It ended up because they were just coming off pit lane. It saved them apparently. And this is where this is one of the things I don't like about road racing. I can't always figure out how they reset the field when there's cautions and pits, and it's not as simple as it is on the oval tracks. Does it ever get you confused, or do they ever come back to line up and you're like, hold on, how'd they get him here?
All the time.
Does that ever happen to you?
All the time. You're not alone.
So I'm always like, what happened? Okay, whatever. So Ross Chastain wins stage 2. So at this point, I'm feeling good about how I was thinking about things at the beginning of the race. SVG's in second, Joey Logano's in third, so I'm feeling good for Team Penske.
Yeah, a guy who
Ty
shouldn't
Gibbs
be doing
in fourth.
anything.
Hey, now. Byron was in fifth. Burton got sixth, which I was kind of surprised he got stage points. I mean, he is in the playoffs. Chase Briscoe got stage points again. He's in the playoffs. Bowman got eighth. Ryan Preece, 9th, and Denny Hamlin 10th. And Denny Hamlin needs every point he can get right now with the situation he's in. It was a rough day, man. Every time there was any kind of incident, it seemed like it was a playoff car was involved.
Yep. And this is what I was talking about, where they start, like, the playoff drivers started to become non-existent. Because, like, I mean, obviously Logano's a playoff driver, but he doesn't need to be in third. He already has his win. He really has to worry about the round of 12. So That's why I was like, oh, wow, he's in third. And then you just see all the other guys are way behind. I was like, interesting.
It was really odd because in the first stage, the top 15 was dominated by playoff cars. I think there were 2 playoff cars that weren't in there, and that was because it was Blaney and it was Hamlin from getting tied up in the first one because Christopher Bell didn't lose much ground. But everybody else was in like between 3rd place and 15th, I think. Almost everybody. And then we got to stage 2, and they split apart. And by stage 3, it was you had 1 or 2 guys up front, and everybody else was in, the second, third, and the third of the final third of the lineup. It was really odd how it flipped in this race.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know if it happened in stage 2 or stage 3. I know Chase Elliott got a little kerfuffle with Ty Gilliland, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. I know he was ranging around like the 14th area, and I was like, come on.
Well, getting into stage 3, we started seeing some strategy, and we're talking strictly about pitting tires and fuel here. It was, can we get it all down to one more stop? And Chastain and SVG, future teammates for next year, were very obviously working together in strategy here, and they both decided to stay out and play the long game. During this pit road exercise, you had penalties aplenty. Larson got hit, Keselowski got hit, Bubba got hit, Reddick got hit, Zane Smith got hit, Daniel Suarez got hit. They all had to move to the back on this little pit exchange for the stages. So when we get back to green flag racing, Chastain gets out and he takes clear lead. Again, I'm feeling real good about Chastain. Like, I'm feeling real good. I'm like, dude's not going to screw this one up. He's going to get it. Yeah, dude. I was totally all in. I was like, all right, let's go Busch Latte. And then Briscoe and SVG get into it. He loosens SVG up a bit, but he saves it and it gets turned back around. He's all good. And then we get a little action like 5 laps later between Denny Hamlin and Keselowski and Larson. They end up going 3 wide into turn 2, and they run out of room. And Denny Hamlin is the victim, we'll say, of this accident. Let's see if I got that clip here. I think this is it. So this is an in-car clip, so I think this is the right one.
Just a little, little accident.
Massive loss of points. Crashed at Daytona. Crashed in the big wreck. Recovered at Darlington, and here
this is a good hit
into the wall.
Yeah, 3 wide. I mean, basically, he uses the runoff, but the same 5 and 6 that we were showing you were side by side. Brad basically is like, look, man, if you're going to go to that runoff, you're just not going to squeeze me and have me lift. You see all that dirty rubber. I think the 11 knows he has to get in line. 3 cars just don't fit on the entry to the X's, Jeff. Massive loss.
So, I mean, Denny had a rough day. Denny's had a rough 5 weeks.
I was going to say, it's been more than a day.
And you know what? Nothing against personal, but I'm loving it. It ain't personal, Denny. It's business. You got to have somebody not to like, and you're this year's victim. We just watched the in-car. I have another in-car take of it, but we're not going to show that. We're going to keep on moving on.
Yeah,
so we get that race. Yeah, it's such a long race. So we get through that. Caution comes out. There's some pitting. There's some not pitting. There's some strategy. We're not going to go through the whole 9 yards there. Green flag drops, and it's Ross Chastain and SVG again. But with this time, Michael McDowell is there, and he's giving SVG some grief. Chastain's still back out there in the lead. Eventually, SVG does hold off McDowell and maintain second place. But McDowell has, he was there a little bit at the beginning of the race, kind of disappeared. He's now come back. We were talking last week about this guy. He's a super speedway specialist, but I didn't know this until today that he started on road track racing. He wasn't in like sprint cars or quarter midgets or anything. He started as a road racer. So he's very comfortable out there, and he looked like it today. It is something I didn't know. Fun fact for me. Hopefully it's a fun fact for you too. But we get to like lap 54, and SVG is done playing nice at this point. He starts working on Chastain, and he's really just having trouble. He couldn't get around it. And this is what made me start feeling really good about my pre-race pick, because I was like, man, he's holding off SVG. Like, did you think he was going to hold off forever, or were you just waiting for SVG to pull out the big move to get around him and go?
Where were you at? The big move.
Big move?
Oh, yeah. Especially this guy is good at road courses. And we saw it before in the Xfinity Series. Well, actually, it wasn't really a road course, but it was in Iowa, and he dominated on that one. But, yeah, I just figured he was going to do something big because of what happened also in Chicago when he got roughed up a little bit in the beginning of the race. He couldn't finish, so I figured he'd have a little bit of, like, a revenge tour to get that W at Watkins Glen.
Well, he had this. He has today, and he still has the Roval coming up. So,
yeah,
he's got more opportunities coming. But anyways, these guys going at it. They end up getting like the top 5 stacked up behind him at this point, and eventually Chris Buescher makes his arrival to the top part of the racing world, because we haven't seen him in a while. And Buescher had pitted earlier, and when Chastain and SVG stayed out, we are now getting to the result of this where the tires are making a difference, and it's a noticeable difference at this point. Buescher really has no trouble passing SVG at this point, so he ends up taking second place. It's not 3 laps later, and he's done caught up to Chastain, and he makes a move on Chastain, and he takes the lead. At this point, Chastain and SVG have said that's enough. We got to come in and get tires. Briscoe actually pits with them at this point. And then Buescher comes in and pits again. So that was the one thing I didn't quite understand. Was he just playing the numbers that, okay, there's 30 laps left. I know from I can run from 30 laps in. Did you ever catch that, or did you find anything out on that?
Honestly, no, I wasn't really thinking like that. I figured, yeah, okay, guy's pitting a lot, but I was like, this is kind of interesting. Maybe it'll help him in the end, but I didn't think he would have been like top 5 or anything like that. I just felt like how the way the race was going, he would have been like that middle pack.
Here's the pass for the lead from Buescher over Chastain.
Well, these guys are basically at 40 laps to 1 to 16.
40 total, 30 green, and for sure you're starting to see him go away. But it's
I mean, look at him just pull off.
Too
He
much
gone.
position as Buescher cleans Chastain. What a great move.
And Chastain's time at the front has come to an end. Ross has led more laps here today than his entire road course career. Well, these
See, I was feeling good about my pre-race pick with Ross
And
Chastain.
it dropped real quick.
Real quick. I was hoping strategy was going to work out for me, but yeah, I had that one of that pass there. I want to get that for you guys. Is this? Oh, I got another clip for you then. Yeah, because this is right here. So Buescher ends up going to pit on like lap 60, so with like 30 laps left. Christopher Bell at this point is trying to get into the pits too, and he ends up getting taken out trying to get into the pits. It's not like a major issue, but I thought it was a good clip.
Kyle Larson on the outside, the green machine in the background. There's the first bit of contact between Austin Dillon and Christopher Bell.
So he's pushing and he's shoving, and the 20 right here, I think, is trying to get to the right to come to pit road, but he moves left. I don't know if he was kind of shoved that way, doesn't know that the 3's there, but either way, the 3 is trying to pass the 20. He doesn't know or doesn't care, maybe, that the 20's coming to pit road, so the 20 turns
a little bit
left
of both.
and slows down. The 3's picking up the gas to leave the corner. He was running 12th with all that happened.
Just forklifted it around. And that's a shame for Christopher Bell because he was running 12th after that comeback from the opening lap incident.
So, yeah, I mean, Christopher Bell at this point in the race had made a great comeback. He was back up front, and he gets involved in another, we'll call it a skirmish. That's unfair.
Yeah. Again, I think Austin Dillon didn't care, and he didn't know he was going to pit, so he just wanted to get in front of Christopher Bell.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah, nothing crazy.
He has no F's to give the rest of the year.
Pretty much.
They took away his playoff run. Granted, it was his fault, but they said, no, you can't do that. And now he's just mad. So he has no F's left to give. So there was no caution there. That gets taken care of. No big deal. We move on with about, man, how many was 20 laps left? About 20 laps left, 22 laps left. Logano ends up in the lead. And he's doing his thing. He's not up there long enough for it to matter, to be honest. I don't know even why I started with that note. Aaron, stop me next time.
Stop.
That was a bad note. I probably was just side note I was writing down. I guess
You just like the Logano was leading a little bit. Yeah, it's okay.
I like Penske. Whoever's up
Yeah.
there. Even if it's Cindric. He's pointless. But Logano's in the lead for a very short amount of time, and Buescher ends up catching up to Logano, and they have a little bit of a battle. I expected it to be a little bit more aggressive because Logano's already got his win. Buescher's mad that with the way the playoffs got set up this year in the last 2 weeks before the playoffs, he got bounced when he probably had a good enough season to make the playoffs. I'm really starting to feel like maybe extend the playoffs out to the top 20.
Interesting.
And I'm usually not a big fan of expanding playoffs by any means, college football. But and the MLB and the NBA and every pro sport that has expanded the playoffs. But I think in this one they need to, because there's so much that's outside of your control. Because it's not just a team. There's mechanical issues as well, and things of that nature. Something somebody else's car leaks, puts down, or somebody else's debris and hits your car and causes damage or gives you a flat tire. There's so many extra things outside of like what football has to deal with I feel like you could open the playoffs up here and it'd be a little bit. I think it'd be acceptable. What do you think?
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind like a top 20 and go like that. I just don't like the win and you're in type thing.
I think if you go to 20, win and get in is fair.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll probably have to see how it would look like, but yeah, I guess it would be all right.
Because think about it. Who's going to be up there points-wise who didn't win a race? I mean, so do I. But, I mean, this is what we have. I would like to make a revision to it is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I'd enjoy it more.
Yeah, work then.
But anyways, back to I'm so sorry, guys. I had so much to in my head.
It's a long race. It's okay.
Just such a long race. This race gave me a lot of time to think. Anyways, Busher catches up to Logano. He works him, and eventually he gets around Logano because he has fresher tires than Logano does. At this point, I know that Logano dropped down and went to the pits with about 20 laps left. Nothing else exciting really happens for like the next 9 laps left, and then we get some fireworks, and almost literal fireworks, as Harrison Burton ends up blowing a tire and leaves shreds everywhere along the track. He was in that pretty Penske paint job today with his 21 Wood Brothers Ford.
Bad luck for your son, but the left rear so far staying on.
So far, it's stayed
watch
on.
this tire. Look at that.
Lots of debris coming off of it. I think NASCAR is going to be put in a spot here. Leader coming right behind him. Rubber on the racetrack. Here comes Chris Busher. Here comes SVG.
Oops.
The main tire is still on the car, though. Will it come off right? There's the caution.
Oh, and what a break for the 2 cars that were on pit road. Keselowski and Logano jumped to pit road, assuming there would be a yellow. They get a yellow because of that tire debris.
That's what we wanted to get to. Again, a caution came out when people were on pit road and coming off pit road, and it worked out to their advantage going to the next part of the race. But yeah, that was a little bit of fireworks we had. So that burns up like 4 laps to clean up, and I was surprised it took that long to clean it up. But I'm sure there were small pieces of rubber all over.
Yeah.
So I mean, and the caution laps are so darn long at this track because it's what, a minute and a half, 2 minutes to get around it on a caution lap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, it's a long track. But we restart with 7 laps to go, and it's Busher up front. Excuse me. And out of nowhere, Carson Hocevar, who was hanging around the top 10 all of stage 3, has worked his way all the way up to second place.
Weird, right?
It was so odd to see that car up there at that point in the race. I'm like, hold on. This dude's not supposed to be up here. Because Zane Smith was up there with Joey Logano all of the first and second stage. They were like stuck together. These guys, these young kids, the new kids to the block seem to have a good representation today. So yeah, Hocevar's up front, and Busher ends up winning the battle. He takes the lead, and William Byron and Brad Keselowski get into it, and Byron climbs his car on top of Keselowski's, and they're buried into the wall.
Insane.
Here, I got the video of it. It's right here.
Insane. I thought Byron's tire went like all the way into Keselowski's car. I was like, holy.
I was chasing my daughter at the moment that this happened, so I was walking through and I was like,
yeah, it was a pretty insane car. And the fact that they could get it out on
SVG is
their
third.
own.
They're going to stack them up double wide for fourth. A couple of white and blue cars there at the top of your screen. Chastain and Briscoe, and there's trouble further back. William Byron gets launched up onto the retaining wall. Brad Keselowski is involved. SVG is third. They're going to stack up.
hold on. You see the extra one back? Oh no, you literally ends up going there. But yeah, man, he climbed up on top of his car. I thought that was crazy.
Yep, and for anybody that didn't see it, it was Byron's front right tire went right into the cage of where Brad Keselowski sits. And somehow William Byron and Keselowski kind of wiggled their way out, but insane.
Here's their in-car cameras together. I mean, all you can really tell is that he's jacked up into the air. So, I mean, we had some fireworks in this race.
Yep, Kyle hitting the Reddick again. That little battle happened. I didn't really see how it happened. It just looked like Busch went into him, and then obviously Kyle was very frustrated, you could tell, and then left the scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was. All right, anyway, so we've already alluded to overtime. So we get back to green. There ends up being another wreck or incident. It's Josh Berry, Truex Jr., and Cindric get 3 wide. Reddick ends up getting turned up, and caution comes out. We go to overtime. The overtime's fantastic. Absolutely the best part of the race. I'm just going to play the 50-second video I have of the end of it because it gives you the entire story, and we're just going to leave it there because there's nothing I can say that will do better than the video itself. So here you go.
Chris Buescher is hounding down Shane Van Gisbergen, who happens to be mentored by Marcus Ambrose. Marcus will be back in Australia watching this, and it's shades of Keselowski and Ambrose all over again. Buescher gets on the inside of SVG and says, "You pushed me around earlier, I'm going to give it back." Incredible on this final lap. Van Gisbergen's only got one real shot left at it. Maybe 2. Thinks about it into turn 6. Did Buescher save the best to last? Or has Van Gisbergen got a little payback? He gets wide. He loses it almost. He has to gather it up, but he can't do it. Chris Buescher wins at the Glen in the most spectacular style.
I couldn't have explained that any better, guys. So that's why I just was like, here.
And with that win, that puts Buescher from wherever he was, I have no idea where he was, up to 11th in points. He's +6 now.
We're getting there too. I got a graphic for it.
Oh.
So anyways. Oh, I took NASCAR's graphic, man, just so we could look at it. With that being said, Buescher gets the W. SVG gets second. He was very not animated, but he was very clear in the fact that he was disappointed in himself. It was his fault that he lost that race. But he took it like a man, and he owned it. So Chris Buescher gets the W. SVG gets second. Carson Hocevar ends up third. I think it's his best career finish. Watermelon Man ends up fourth. Zane Smith, who I said was up there all day, fifth. Chase Briscoe sixth. Michael McDowell seventh. Corey LaJoie eighth. Ryan Priest ninth. Austin Cindric 10th. He needs the points. Noah Gragson 11th. Kyle Larson 12th. Daniel Suarez 13th. Christopher Bell 14th. Joey Logano 15th. Todd Gilliland 16th. Bubba Wallace 17th. Alex Bowman 18th. Chase Elliott 19th. Truex Jr. ends up 20th. He's going to be a win to get in situation. John Hunter Nemechek 21st. Ty Gibbs 22nd. Denny Hamlin finishes 23rd. He's going to be win to get in. Burton finishes 24th. He's the same situation. Josh Berry 25th. Brad Keselowski win to get in 26th. Tyler Reddick 27th. Austin Dillon 28th. Justin Haley 29th. Kyle Busch 30th. Daniel Hemrick 31st. Juan Pablo Montoya 32nd. Eric Jones 33rd. William Byron 34th. Kaz Grala 35th. AJ Allmendinger 36th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 37th. And the defending NASCAR Cup champion Ryan Blaney finishing 38th and last.
Interesting rumor that I heard. Kyle Busch might return to Hendricks. Just a rumor. Nothing finalized. Just a rumor that I heard through the grapevine. And a
Yeah,
certain
because that's
48
why
car is
Bowman.
out.
Yeah, the Bowman. Yeah, Bowman's gone.
Yeah.
I've heard that too.
Oh, we must have the same grapevine.
Well, probably pretty similar. There's not that many in the NASCAR world. At least not that I found. Yeah, and Hendricks come out in full support of Bowman, and they've told him that he does not losing his job. So, and they've made that public. That's a public statement. So, if they were to do that now without him doing something wrong, especially if he were to get out of the first round of the playoffs, that would look awfully fishy. It would not be a good look for Hendricks. Let's put it that way. They can take one bad hit; it's not going to hurt them.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say it would. So yeah, I mean, it was an okay race. It wasn't a bad race. Wasn't my favorite race. No. I got this other clip I want to show you real quick. This is the last set of turns. Hold on. And this is in the car. He'll be back. Hold on. SVG on top, Busher on the bottom. This is that through the bus stop. So he hits the wall. He's mad. You see him get loose. That's what gives Busher the opportunity. And this is perfectly fine in my opinion. SVG did it to Busher earlier in the overtime too. It wasn't here. It was here. I thought he was going to get him, and he broke it. Anyways, I wanted to show you that because I thought it was a good video. But you know me, I'm a nut for those in-car cameras.
Yeah, they are pretty cool, though.
I do like them. I like them a lot. So our standings as things are... We got Joey Logano still in first. Christopher Bell is in second. Dude, Busher's not in the playoffs. Briscoe's in the playoffs. Remember, Busher missed the cut.
Even with the win, though, it wouldn't matter.
No, because we're already in the playoffs.
Oh, I guess that's true. What? Okay,
Dude,
maybe I messed
I think
up.
you saw Briscoe and thought it was Busher.
Yeah, it's allergy season, so my eyes are a little off.
You're good. So here we go. So Joey Logano is in the lead. Christopher Bell is in second with plus 46. Austin Cindric in third at plus 43. Alex Bowman, who's basically a shoe-in for the next round, is plus 41. That's the driver we were just talking about. Daniel Suarez is in fifth at plus 36. Tyler Reddick plus 30 in sixth. Chase Elliott plus 30 in seventh. Ryan Blaney, the defending NASCAR champion, is plus 29 in eighth. Kyle Larson is plus 26 in ninth. William Byron is plus 25 in 10th. Chase Briscoe is plus 6 in 11th. And Ty Gibbs is plus 6th and 12th. So on the outside looking in, it's Denny Hamlin. So mathematically, if Denny Hamlin has good finishing in the first and second stage and top 10 finish at the end of the race, he's in without a win, but a win and he's locked. Brad Keselowski, minus 12 points, can win with a good, I don't know, man. He might have. Are Keselowski, Truex Jr., and Burton, they have to win to get in? Is that how you feel? Like,
Yeah,
do you think they're
pretty
good
much.
enough to be up front all day long and get enough points to cover the ground? Because they're going to need help, too.
I think the closest one might be Keselowski out of the three. But
Because he's only 12 points out.
Yep, and honestly, it might be crazy to say that Denny Hamlin might not make round 12.
If he goes out early, he's done.
Weeks. Yeah, he's already had 5 bad weeks at tracks that he's actually good at, and he didn't do well in them. So he could essentially be out. We all thought Chase Briscoe was going to be out. Obviously, Harrison Burr, like drivers like that. We did not think
Cindric.
Denny Hamlin. Yep, Cindric.
I thought for sure he'd be at the bottom of the list.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about this real quick. All right, next week, Bass Pro Shops night race, Bristol Motor Speedway, the Thunderdome. we got guys in the playoffs who are historically good at Bristol. Larson, Hamlin, Logano, Blaney are both traditionally fairly good at Bristol. Bell's good at short tracks. Am I forgetting anybody else? Is Chase Elliott a big short track guy?
He's okay. He finishes good.
But he's not. He's not a perennial winner.
No, I don't think he is.
I know Suarez isn't. So I mean, you got some guys in here that this is for them who are not locked in. This is important because we only got one guy locked in. So every point matters. I think Bell, Cindric, and Bowman, I would assume, are safe because they're over plus 40 points. Suarez is probably, I bet you the top 8 are probably safe.
Yeah, they're pretty good to go.
It's Larson, Byron, Briscoe, Gibbs, Hamlin, Keselowski, Truex Jr., and Burton are fighting to get in. Because that is a total of a 46-point spread right there.
And Gibbs really hasn't been running that great either the last few races, so he really needs to win some stages.
So I don't know what's going to happen here. I know the next race is going to be probably my favorite race of the rest of the year. I love Bristol. I think it's a fun track, and it's nighttime. And it's going to be on Saturday night, so we get a whole day to go over it, and I get to let it soak in before the show. But yeah, man, I mean, this is where we're at right now. So who do you think misses the cut? Give me your 4 guys who don't make the cut.
Obviously Harrison Burton.
Okay.
I think Truex. I think he's already kind of just packed it in. He already mathematically knows he's not going to make it. I'm going to go Denny Hamlin as my 3rd. And I'm going to go, I said it earlier in the year and you kind of looked at me. I think Ty Gibbs will be the 4th.
Okay, so Keselowski.
I think Keselowski's going to do well.
And Briscoe are going to make it through for you.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Gotta shake it up a little.
I'm not far off from you. My difference is I think Denny has a bad week and he misses.
Mm-hmm.
I think Harrison misses too. But Harrison takes out like William Byron in an accident early in the race.
I could see that. Yeah.
And I think that gets Truex Jr. in because Truex ends up qualifying well and ends up top 10 all day long. And because William Byron would fall that many spots, and I'm assuming Chase Briscoe's probably going to fall too, that would give Truex Jr. and Keselowski both a way in.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Truex is going to win.
I mean, it is as a big sponsor is. So.
Truex is going to win the race. Book it.
I got Christopher Bell.
That's his teammate. I think if those two are up front at the end, I think Bell gives them the W.
Ooh, wow.
Because Bell's in second place in points.
Yeah, I can see that. I bet you they'll say that in the drivers' meetings.
If at the end of stage 2, if his team goes, you are mathematically locked in and Martin is with you, Martin needs the win. If it's the final lap and Martin's there, let him go by.
Yeah, and especially if he already knows that situation and he sees it, he'll probably back off. If they'll talk about it in the meeting, but yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
So I mean, there's gonna be some drama next week. Not only is it one of the best races of the year, one of the, if not one of the best, fine, one of the most fun. You can't argue that it's nighttime at Bristol, and it's not gonna be dirt. So, it's gonna be fast. I don't know what the weather's gonna be like next week in Tennessee. I'm assuming it's probably still going to be a little muggy and probably upper 70s, lower 80s. if not mid-80s.
Just be like a weatherman. They have the easiest job. They could just say the wrong things and still get paid. So you can say sunny. It's gonna be sunny, and then at night it's gonna be nice.
So my one concern is, or not concern, do you think we're gonna have tire issues to start the race in Bristol next week, and then once the sun goes down, the tire issue will go away? Do you think that we're gonna have a repeat of earlier in the year at Bristol?
Probably. I wouldn't put it past them.
So you think that Goodyear did not make some kind of a change? Or if Goodyear makes a change and we have the same problem, are teams being too risky with their tire pressures?
Not sure. I would think so. Just because, like, especially what happened earlier this year with all the freaking tires busting out, that I think they would, but I don't know. We're gonna have to see. But do they practice at Bristol? Is this one of the tracks where they can practice at, or no?
See, my guess is that they will practice because of
because we'll find out at practice.
Last time they're gonna want to check them tires first.
Yeah. I think whatever happens in practice will determine everything.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they may just go, okay, hey, the tires aren't going to make it 50 laps. They're only going to make it 42 to 45.
Yeah.
Or I guess not going to make it 55 to 60. They'll only make it 42 to 45. We're going to give them an extra set of tires.
Yeah.
Cool. That's fine. Like, whatever. Just address it up front so we don't have to – so it's not a mad scramble and the teams can plan properly, because – I would rather have a well-ran race that has an alteration before they start than to have to make an emergency change and everybody's scrambling. That's just me, though.
And I believe it's 500 laps, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Goodyear better be on their A game, that's for sure.
I mean, the tires need to last at least 60 laps, legit.
Yep.
Because they get 10 sets, plus their qualifying set. If I'm wrong, somebody check me and let me know. What my apologies. So yeah, I mean, you need to run 50 to 60 laps on set of tires. If they can only go 35 for the first 100 laps, they're gonna need at least one extra set of tires. At least. That's like best hope out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm super excited for Bristol. Like I said, now I love Bristol. It's my favorite track. So we will do the show next Sunday night. Aaron, do you want to go at 8 o'clock next week, my time?
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll go at 8 o'clock next week, a little bit earlier for you all. So we'll try to line up with the start of halftime for Sunday Night Football. And then you won't miss as much of Sunday Night Football. So how's that sound? Because that makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
But, Aaron, anything else on this race or going into Bristol next week?
Shout out to Connor Zelich, won his first Xfinity Series. If no one knows who that is, just signed with Junior Motorsports full-time next year in the Xfinity. Was pretty much in Italy doing karts, and then does some ARCA racing. So the fact that he got his first win at Watkins Glen in Xfinity to start off his career is pretty good. And I believe he's only 18 years old at the moment, either 18 or going to be 19. So, hats off to Connor Zelich right there in the Xfinity Series.
Didn't Junior call him in the middle of his post-race press conference and offer him the job? Offer him the contract?
When he signed?
Yeah. No, like, wasn't he doing his post-race interview when Junior called him?
No, because he was already with Junior Motorsports.
Okay, well, he got a call from Junior during that, and he stopped the post-race interview to take the call from Junior.
Yeah, he's probably congratulating him. Probably, because it seems like a Junior thing to do. But, yeah, no, I think he's been on the team for probably about like a month or so.
Gotcha. Well, you do more than I did, like usual.
I'll try to.
I'm glad you do. I learned something. All right. So, like I said earlier, if you ended up here and then we caught your attention, but you're looking for football, go back to the VSN YouTube page. That would be Talking the Gridiron, Darren and Jimmy and Doug, breaking down all of today's NFL news. We got 7th inning stretch on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Central Time. We'll be talking, leading up to the playoffs, end of the year awards, things we think we're going to see in the offseason. Darren's going to have a great show planned out. Brandon and I will be there. Logan's going to be there. And I believe we're going to have a special guest from one of our old friends, Mr. Prime Jordan. So tune in Wednesday night for that. Wrecked with Rangers on Saturday nights. He's doing all your video game content. Hogs on the Hills out there. We got so much great content right now. Make sure you check in the Variety Sports Network YouTube page. Like, subscribe, and make sure you hop in the comments section and get involved in the shows. But everybody, thanks so much for joining us this week. Y'all have a fantastic week. We'll see you next Sunday night to break down Bristol.